What? All right, so you're ready to dive into some side hustles this weekend.
Let's do it.
We're going to take a deep dive into some hot side hustles.
Yeah.
And you might already have what you need to get started.
Yeah, a lot of these side hustles, you
Yeah.
don't need any money up front.
I love that.
You can just get started with what you have.
Yeah,
Use
absolutely.
your time.
This source is talking about freelancing, and it mentions like $15 to $100 an hour.
Yeah, freelancing is huge and it's only growing. So
Wow.
that's
Oh,
great, a really great option.
Okay, so $100 an hour,
Now hold on.
that's pretty good.
It's not, you're
Well,
not gonna start out making $100 an hour.
Right,
It depends on your skill set and how much you've done it.
right. And your niche, it sounds like, right?
Absolutely.
This source mentions Fiverr and Upwork.
Yeah, great platforms.
Yeah. What kind of gigs do well on those?
So Fiverr, you're talking about, things that can be done kind of quickly.
Like a logo or
Right.
maybe a voiceover, something like that.
Okay.
Um, Upwork is more for more in-depth projects,
Okay.
like larger scale things, website, maybe even website building or something,
Gotcha.
some kind of copy.
Okay, so if I'm not like a coding whiz
Right.
or a Photoshop guru,
Sure.
what about...
Yeah, there's plenty of options if you're not techie.
Okay, good.
Two of the things that this source mentions
Yeah.
are getting paid for your opinions, which I love.
Okay, getting paid for your opinions. Tell me more.
Yeah, focus groups, that's a big one.
Focus groups.
Companies really want to know what you think about their products and their services,
Right.
and they're willing to pay for it.
Okay, so I'm picturing like a room full of people
Yeah.
and like snacks, and we're all just...
It can be like that.
Okay.
But often now it's virtual.
Okay.
So you might be asked to test a website
Okay.
or just give your feedback. Or even just, what you think about their social media presence.
Okay.
Things like that.
So snacks and getting paid for my opinion.
Exactly.
I'm gonna get down with that.
That's the beauty of it. It's online now.
Yeah.
So you can just do it from home.
I love it.
Another one that this source mentions is the gig economy,
Okay, the gig economy. Yeah.
like ride sharing, food delivery, things like that.
Yeah, so like Uber,
Yeah.
Lyft,
Uber, Lyft,
Grubhub.
Grubhub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All those.
Yeah. And this is perfect, especially if you have like a weekend free or
Yeah, if you have flexibility,
yeah.
you can kind of set your own hours, which a lot of people love.
Yeah, that flexibility is amazing.
Especially if you already have like a 9 to 5
Right.
and you're just trying to do a little something on the side.
This source mentions dog walking and pet sitting
Oh, yeah.
as a good side hustle.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay. Especially on the weekends when people are out of town, people are always looking for dog walkers and pet sitters.
Yeah.
People are busy, they got stuff to do.
Right.
So that's it's a really great way to
Yeah.
make a little extra cash.
Or over Pawshake. Are those?
Yeah, those are great platforms.
Have you ever used those?
I haven't used them personally,
Oh, okay.
but I've heard good things.
Okay.
It's nice because they provide that kind of middleman.
Right. Okay.
So you have a little bit of security.
So you don't have to like exchange money or anything like that.
Exactly. You don't have to worry about any of that.
And you can, if you're an animal lover,
Right.
it's kind of a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you could
Yeah.
do the dog walking, like be more active.
Yeah, you could do dog walking, you could do pet sitting. If you'd rather kind of hang back,
Right. Yeah, I like that.
a little bit more low key,
Okay, so we've got opinions, we've got animals, we've got apps.
we've got apps, yeah.
But what if you want to use your brain a little bit more?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
This source talks about online tutoring.
Online tutoring. Okay.
Yeah, it's a really popular one.
And there's platforms for that too, right?
There are platforms for that.
Okay.
Like Chegg, Wyzant, Tutor.com.
Okay, and the good thing about this is, like, if you're good at math,
Yeah, if you've got a knack for something,
yeah,
if you're really good at something,
English or whatever.
yeah, you could really help somebody out
Yeah.
and get paid for it.
So, I mean, what kind of money are we talking about, like, for tutoring?
You can make pretty good money. This source is saying upwards of like $40 an hour,
Wow. Okay.
which is not bad, at all.
Not bad at all.
And again, you can set your own hours. You can work from home.
Okay, so we've covered a lot,
We have covered a lot.
but we're about to get into even more,
Let's do it.
like blogging, drop shipping, and unleashing your inner creative entrepreneur. Okay, so blogging,
That just seems, I don't know, kind of daunting to me.
it can be a little daunting.
Yeah.
But this source mentions
Yeah.
WordPress, Medium, Squarespace.
Yeah.
These are all platforms that make it really easy
Okay.
to set up a blog.
Gotcha.
and start, getting your content out there.
Okay, but I'm guessing like it takes a while to actually build a following
It does.
and really generate income that way.
This source is saying that, blogging is a long game.
Okay.
You're not going to get rich quick.
Right.
But if you like to create content,
Yeah.
if you have a passion
Right.
and you're willing to stick with it,
Yeah.
it can be really, really lucrative.
Oh,
You think about ad revenue,
right.
sponsorships, maybe even selling your own products.
Okay, so drop shipping.
Yeah.
I don't really know how that works.
So drop shipping,
Yeah.
you're basically creating an online store,
Okay.
but you're not stocking any of the inventory.
So I'm like the middleman.
You're like the middleman.
So
So
I'm-
somebody will,
So they buy it from my store, essentially.
they buy it from your store
And then like it ships from
and it ships right from the supplier
Okay,
directly to the customer.
that's kind of amazing.
It is pretty amazing.
What's the downside?
Well, you still have to manage the store.
Right.
You have to find the products, make sure that the customers are happy. So it's not completely passive.
Right. It's not like I just set it and forget it.
Right, exactly.
Sure,
But you don't have to worry about the inventory, which is nice.
Okay, so it's lower risk.
Lower risk, for sure.
Okay.
And like we were saying, you want to start something this weekend.
Right.
It's a good way to get going.
I do. I love handmade products.
Yeah, they're really popular.
Yeah.
People love that personal touch. So like
Okay.
where do you if you create something, where do you sell it?
Etsy. Etsy's the big one.
Etsy.
That's kind of the go-to for handmade products.
Okay, now that makes me think about if you're a graphic
Yeah.
designer,
Absolutely.
you could sell your services on Fiverr,
Mm-hmm.
and then you could also sell your designs on Etsy.
There you go.
Okay, so it's like
You could have these multiple streams of income.
exactly multiple streams of income. Yeah.
Okay, so besides all this stuff that we've talked about,
Are there other things that
Sure.
maybe you don't need a specific skill
Right.
or a lot of time?
Remember those focus groups?
Yeah, the focus groups.
we were talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, some of those pay like $200
For an hour?
for a couple hours of your time. Yeah.
Where do I sign up?
Websites like
Yeah.
user interviews responded. Those are good ones
Okay.
for finding focus groups.
What about flipping items?
Flipping items, that's a good one.
Yeah, what does that even what is that?
So you're basically finding things
Yeah.
at a bargain price
Oh.
and then reselling them for a profit.
So what? At thrift stores?
Thrift stores, yard sales, online,
What kinds of things are we talking about here?
could be anything.
Okay.
I mean, this source talks about like vintage clothing,
Okay.
antique furniture, collectibles, things like that.
How do you even know if something's worth anything?
Well, that's where the research comes in.
Okay.
You got to do your research.
Yeah.
You got to know what you're looking at.
Okay, so eBay,
eBay,
Poshmark.
Poshmark. Those are all good for
Those are all good for reselling.
reselling. Okay.
Yeah.
So you find something at a thrift store.
Right.
You're like, oh, this is a steal.
Exactly.
And then you sell it on eBay.
There you go.
I love it.
That's flipping.
So research is important
Research is key,
with any of these
For sure.
side hustles.
Yeah. no matter what you're doing.
Okay.
We covered a lot of ground,
We've covered a lot.
and we still have a couple more.
Yeah, we're not done yet. Side hustles to get through. Okay. So before we get to the last ones, I got to say, there really are a lot of side hustles out there.
There really are, yeah. And I think it's really cool that so many of them you can kind of you don't have to pick just one.
Yeah.
You can kind of do a couple. You can do a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Right. Especially because so many of them are based on
Yeah.
your free time.
It's about fitting them into your life.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So this source is talking about website and app testing.
Ew, that's a fun one.
Yeah. And I will say, I download a lot of apps
Yeah.
and I'm always curious to
Right.
try new ones. So the idea that you could get paid to test them.
And it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because companies need that feedback.
Right.
They want to make sure their stuff works.
Okay. But do I have to know how to code to test a website?
No.
Okay.
You don't have to know how to code. They want you to use it.
Okay.
Like a normal person would.
Gotcha.
And tell them what you think.
Okay. And how do you even find those?
So there are platforms for this. This source mentions user testing.
Okay.
UTest, those are two of the big ones.
Gotcha.
And basically you sign up, you create a profile, they ask you your interests and things like that.
Right.
And then they match you with tests.
So say if you're a total foodie
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
would like test a food delivery app.
They might have you order some food, even.
Better.
Yeah, and then tell them what you thought of the app, how easy it was to use. Did you have any problems?
I could do that.
Exactly.
What else? What else we got?
Okay, so this one's a little different.
Okay.
But this source talks about renting out your car.
Wait, what?
Yeah, like when you're not using it.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Like I can make money from my car
Mm-hmm.
while just sitting at home.
While you're sitting at home.
yeah.
So there's this platform, the source mentions Turo.
Sorry.
It's basically like Airbnb, but for cars.
Okay.
So you list your car on there,
Okay.
and if somebody, needs a car for a few days,
Right.
they can rent it from you.
Wow. And I just get like the money.
You get the money.
That's amazing. Okay.
Now, I will say you want to make sure you look into the insurance,
Right. Of course. Yeah.
all that stuff.
Right. Okay.
Make sure you're covered.
Wow. That's incredible.
So many options.
So we've gone over getting paid for our opinions. We've gone over apps, animals. Like
We've covered a lot of ground.
we have covered so much. I mean, honestly, I'm feeling really inspired. Like there's so many things that you could do.
Absolutely. And that's the great thing about side hustles these days. There really is something for everyone.
Yeah. And I think the biggest takeaway for me is like, it doesn't have to be this big, scary thing.
No, not at all.
Like
You can start small.
you can just
Dip your toes in.
exactly like just dip your toes in, see if you like it.
And if you don't like it, you try something else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're not tied to anything.
Well, this has been amazing. I feel like I learned so much.
It's been a pleasure.
And hopefully our listener did too,
I hope so.
about all these side hustles. And you know what? Maybe this weekend, that's your side hustle, is just to
Just to explore.
explore these
Yeah.
and see which one
See what speaks to you.
speaks to you.
There
Exactly.
you go.
Well, that is our deep dive into the world of side hustles. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see